So anyway, hopefully everybody who has not seen this movie has either paused the video or turned the volume down or something, because I'm about to drop some questions on you. Now, first of all, hopefully you understand and hopefully you guys respect that I gave that period of time for people to check out, because I don't want to spoil this for anybody. But the first question I have is Rey Luke Skywalker's daughter? That's the first question I have for you guys. Is Rey, the woman, the female protagonist, the what I would see as main character of this movie, is she Luke Skywalker's daughter? That's what I have to ask you guys, because I've seen evidence of both. I've seen evidence that she is. I've seen evidence that she isn't. Is the main character of this movie Luke Skywalker's daughter? Okay, I'll tell you the main reason that I feel like she might be is because they never show her parents. They never show them. They tease it. They actually let you hear her parents' voice. This is something that I've never seen on the internet. This is something I've never seen anybody talk about on the internet. They actually let you hear the parents' voice, but they mask it. But they give it that, like, voices and identities have been changed to protect the innocent. They give it that, like, America's Most Wanted treatment, where they don't give you the person's real voice. They actually mask it. If you go back and watch it, you're going to hear that that's not the person's real voice. That's a voice that they came up with, that they masked and gave this weird effect to, so that you would not hear their voice. And I have to lend some credence to that. Okay? Because if you have nothing to hide, you don't do things like that. If you have nothing to hide and her parents aren't really somebody who needs to be hidden, they wouldn't give a hidden agenda. They wouldn't give that masking to the voice. But you hear it and it's like, oh, they give this weird masking to the voice of her parents. And I have to take that into account when I tell you, hey, that probably means something. It's probably something, guys. If her parents weren't somebody that should be masked, if there were no voice to mask, if there weren't a reason that we might know who that person was if we heard their voice in its normal, pure form, then they would not have masked it. So I have to seriously sit here and be like, okay, well, I know you masked it, so it's got to be somebody I've heard before. It can't be Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan was super dead by this point. No disrespect to Obi-Wan, but he was dead. Who else was gone? It can't be the Emperor. It can't be the Emperor. I would have recognized it, even if they would have masked it. I would have recognized, do what must be done. I would have recognized his voice, even if they masked it. So it's not the Emperor. Plus, he was super dead by that point. There's only a few people who were still alive at this point, and they're Luke, Han, Leia, Chewbacca, C-3PO. C-3PO, as far as I know, doesn't have any sort of equipment that could do something like create a life. As far as Rey is concerned, C-3PO is out of the question. Chewbacca, I don't know what capabilities he has, but I would assume that. How does he? I can't even do his sound, but I'm pretty sure that doesn't sound anything like what got masked in The Force Awakens. So it's not Chewbacca. Who else? Who else was around? Who else Who else matters enough that they would mask them? I just, there's only a certain few people that they would feel like need to be masked. Gosh, nobody's old enough. Nobody is old enough in the saga so far for me to feel like they're her father. So either it's nobody that we ever heard of, or it's got to be Luke Skywalker. So I can't. We said it can't be Obi-Wan. It can't be Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan was dead. Obi-Wan was far past dead by this point. Obi-Wan was dead by the time Luke Skywalker even knew about the Force. So there's no way 30 years later that that Rey, she's pushing maybe 20, maybe 23 or 24. There's no way she's Obi-Wan. She's Obi-Wan's daughter. Maybe Snoke's daughter. Maybe she could be the Supreme Chancellor, Supreme Overlord, Supreme Commander Snoke, whatever he's the Supreme of. Maybe it could be Snoke, but he also seemed very like he didn't know who the heck she was as well. So I just gotta believe that she is either nobody's daughter we ever heard of, she's a clone of Luke Skywalker. She could be a clone of Luke Skywalker. That would be hype, okay? If they found Luke Skywalker's hand and it was still holding the lightsaber. Okay, it was still holding his lightsaber because, as you know, this is way past. This shouldn't even be called a spoiler. If you don't know that Luke Skywalker got his hand chopped off and he had the lightsaber in his hand and it fell into Cloud City and they found said lightsaber and it is present in this movie, they probably found his hand. So if they found his hand and cloned him because they know that he is strong with the Force, he's just a very good Jedi, a very strong Force user. Maybe Rey is a clone of Luke Skywalker. I would accept that as well. Maybe Rey is a clone of Luke Skywalker. That would be super epic. If they revealed that they cloned her and the people who cloned her were maybe him. Maybe him. Maybe he knows something about it. Maybe Snoke knows something about it. They cloned Luke Skywalker and they wanted to try to make a version that could kill Luke Skywalker and just be the dark side version, but they had to put him on that planet, or put her on that planet for some reason. Maybe it's a clone. All right, so I don't mean to go too far into this, but this is my first question. Is Rey Luke's daughter or Luke's clone? Because either point. Read Harvost's message. Oh, let me read Harvost's message. Hang on. Harvost, what did Harvost say? She's Kylo's twin sister. They separated them when one went bad, and the whole thing was the homage to the first one, not episode 1. You know what? I've thought about that, but and also something that upholds that is that once he heard that there was a girl involved, he force choked the heck out of that dude all the way over to him. So you might be right. They might be twins, but then I have to wonder why Han Solo said nothing about it. Did Han Solo not know that they were twins? Did Han Solo not know that Leia had twins? Leia seemed to know her at the end, though. I need to give you guys this tidbit before I move on to question 2. Leia seemed to know her when Rey stepped off the Millennium Falcon. She gave her like the most sincere hug, like she knew her, like they both knew something. And it didn't seem like it was just the fact that they both knew Han. It seemed like she, and before that point, let me iterate this point, she never met Rey. Leia never met Rey before this point. Rey steps off the Millennium Falcon and they just hug like they're just about it, you know? Like they've met each other before, like they know what's going on. So you might be right. They might be twins. I hope they are twins because that would be an ultimate story. If Rey is fighting not only against Kylo but also fighting for his redemption, because as you know he needs some redemption after the things he did in this episode. So I don't know, but what I'm gonna say about this in closing, question 1: is Rey Luke's daughter? I'm going to say that she may not be. She may be a clone, or she may be Han and Leia's daughter, but they may have just swept it aside. But I don't know why they would. And if they did, that is bad parenting. Okay? If they have misled us this far, that's bad parenting, because they should have been like, yeah, we lost our son, but we still have a daughter that we need to focus on. None of that happened. None of that happened. They didn't give one single iota, one single piece of caring about their daughter, if that is their daughter. So, who knows? Yeah, we need Maury Povich. All right, Maury Povich plus Star Wars equals win for everybody. Maury needs to go out there and be like, Darth Vader, you are the father. He's be like, no. Then he'd be like, Luke Skywalker, in the test of you and Rey, you are the father. Oh, he's gonna be like, what? Come on, man. I grew this beard. I grew this beard for nothing. He's gonna be like, yes, you grew that beard for nothing, and you gotta pay this child support right now. You've been skipping out on 25 years of child support. We want it now. And he's gonna be like, what? I don't know. I've been just hanging on this island. I don't know if I could pay it. I gotta pay you in relics and stones and pieces of the Jedi Temple. So hopefully Maury Povich finds his way to the Star Wars universe, because I would love to see Maury. He obviously has technology that nobody else has. And this was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So Maury is a way of the future. If Maury existed back then, he would have solved all this. He would have helped us all out. But Maury did not exist until now, and we're lucky to have him. So, Maury, thank you for everything you do for us presently. I wish you would have existed in a galaxy far, far away, long ago, and helped us out with everything that we're trying to figure out. Question 2. Is Snoke Darth Plagueis? All right. Is Snoke Darth Plagueis? And let me break this down a little bit for you. Snoke is the overlord of everything right now. He's like a 25-foot tall projection that is very prominent in The Force Awakens, and he gives orders to Kylo Ren, my main man, right over here. If you don't see him, there he is, right there. He gives some orders to what's his name, General Hux. I don't know if he's General Hux, whatever his name is. That dude. The other guy who's in charge of the Empire, not the Empire, but the First Order is what they call themselves now. He gives orders to them, and he is looking crazy. He's got a chop in his head, like he got chopped in half, pretty much. And I need to ask you guys this. Is he Darth Plagueis? Okay. Darth Plagueis is a guy who was spoken about in the prequels by the Emperor Palpatine. Okay, Palpatine was sitting there with Anakin. They were at the opera, and there's that bubble. If you've seen the prequels, there's that point where Anakin and the Emperor are sitting there, and they're watching like an opera type thing, and there's a gigantic bubble, and there's these things like floating around, and it's just some weird psychedelic show that they're watching. And he's like, have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis? And Anakin's like, I don't know what the heck you're talking about, dude. And he's like, well, listen up, because it's epic. And he's like, okay, I'll listen. And he's like, well, there was a man by the name of Darth Plagueis. He was not a man, he doesn't say he was not a man, but whatever. There was a man by the name of Darth Plagueis, and he could use the Force to create life. And Anakin is like, what? Create life? What about save a life? And he's like, yes, even save a life. And he's like, okay, I am checking into this. What are you talking about right now, Emperor? And he's like, he doesn't know he's the Emperor, but he says it anyway. He's like, well, Darth Plagueis was so intense and so awesome with the Force that he could create life and save lives and resurrect people, and he was just the best ever. And he's like, please tell me more. He's like, but it was too bad that his apprentice killed him in his sleep. And Anakin's like, killed him in his sleep? He's like, yes, killed him in his sleep. It's a shame he could save other lives, but not himself. And that was it. That was the whole entire speech. I'm sorry about my voice acting. I'm sorry it was not completely what was said, but you know what I'm talking about. There was a guy by the name of Darth Plagueis, and basically Palpatine is saying that he killed him. in his sleep because he didn't want it. He didn't want his power to become too much. I don't know why he did it, but he did it anyway. Killed him in his sleep, as far as he's concerned. Now we got episode 7 where there's this gigantic dude who could be Darth Plagueis, and he's running things. He's obviously running the show, and maybe he waited for Palpatine to get murdered, and now he's ready. Now he's ready to just put his stuff together. So, I have a second question. First question was, is Rey Luke's daughter? Second question is Snoke Darth Plagueis? Is he the guy of legend that the Emperor was talking about? That's my second question. Jar Jar didn't need no freaking Force. No, he didn't. He just did what he did. I see people saying yes. Some people said yes. Some people are agreeing. Some people think that he is in fact Darth Plagueis, and I think that is an epic and also very, I would say, timely outcome, because it would make that character Snoke matter a lot more, because it would mean that he hid in the background and he just basically dictated, basically made things happen as he saw fit, and let Palpatine or the Emperor, Darth Sidious, whatever you want to call him, let him do whatever he was feeling up until this point, and until he died, until Vader murdered him and Vader took himself out, and now he's the Overlord, Dark Lord of the Sith, as he was before. He was the Dark Lord of the Sith back when Palpatine thought he murdered him, because he was the master of Palpatine. Palpatine was the apprentice, and Palpatine thought he murdered him. The Emperor thought he murdered him, and he stayed. Maybe it was a Force image. Maybe he made, because as you know, Force users can make you believe and see things that are not true. So maybe he made Palpatine believe that and stood in the background and just waited. And maybe now is his time to strike. So I would have to say that I am leaning more towards Snoke being Darth Plagueis. I think it definitely makes sense, and it's something that has been touched on in the prequels, and it would make the prequels matter a lot more, because as it is right now, the prequels are in infamy. Most people do not like the prequels, so hopefully they have done something here in this movie that will make the prequels matter more. So, next question. Question 3. Will Luke Skywalker train Rey? As you know, in these movies, in this movie, in Force Awakens, what has been said is that Luke was the trainer of the Jedi Academy, that he opened a Jedi Academy that was supposed to train Force users in the Force, just make them better and make more Jedi and bring up just the whole Jedi way of doing things. He was supposed to be the guy, and he started it, and what happened is one of his apprentices, is it apprentices, I don't know. It's one of those. One of them turned against him, turned against everybody, turned to the dark side, and just started killing off the rest of them. And that person is Kylo Ren, my main dude over here, the dude with the sword, the guy you're seeing right there. My question is, will he in fact train Rey? Because Rey came to him at the end of the movie. I'm not even going to say spoiler alert, because I said that at the beginning. Came to him at the end of the movie with his original lightsaber and held it out to him, like, here you go. And he had a look on his face like, oh boy, here we go again. I don't know if I want to do this, but I'm gonna have to. It was a look of acceptance, but also of just not liking what he was looking at. I feel like he was not happy to see his old saber. I feel like he wasn't happy about it, but he knew what must be done. And I feel like the whole entire movie was his setup that he had made to find out who was worthy of him. But I'm not going to go too far into that. I'm just going to ask you guys, will he train Rey in the next movie? You think he was shocked because someone found him? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think he was shocked because somebody found him, but I think... Oh, Doug Funny? Oh, my God. Kylo Ren turned on Luke. Yes, he did. He turned on Luke and the rest of the Academy. You were supposed to be the chosen one! I wish I had that scene right now. I'd play it so bad right now. But, what I have to ask is, the whole series is going to be Rey's training. So you say yes. Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's going to show up? He's going to have lightsaber feet or something? Jeff Hardy has nothing to do with this. Oh my goodness. Rocco's modern life was epic, by the way. I will step outside of Star Wars for a second to say Rocco's modern life, I loved it. Now I'll play the theme song when this part of this broadcast is over, okay, guys? But for now, I have to ask you, will Luke train Rey? I don't know, because I feel like he's had a bad taste in his mouth off after this dude. Because he trained this guy. The reason this guy is half as epic as he is, at least, is because of Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker trained this dude to be what he is. And now he's out there doing things like murdering his father. Now he's out there doing things like leading the First Order against the rebels, against the Republic. I don't know. I think it's not going to be that easy. If it is that easy, then they have basically built this up in a way that doesn't make any sense. I think it's going to take some convincing. Spunky, yeah, she's super spunky. Rey is awesome. Luke is going to be hesitant. That Kylo Ren guy looks epic. Yes, he does. That's why I blew him up at the beginning of this. Okay, Kylo Ren is awesome. He's a conflicted villain. Okay, something that we have not seen in quite some time. Not just in Star Wars. I'm just talking about in general. We have not seen a villain like this in a while. There have not been villains who have been so conflicted and I don't want to go too far into this because I know it's not one of my questions. I had 5 unanswered questions and I want to stick to those, but we've not seen a villain like this, and that's what I love about Kylo Ren. Okay, that's why I made this PNG of him that is perfectly cut out and doesn't cover up anything except for his character model, because he's that epic. Okay, I don't see him as perfect. I think he's a whiny punk, but I feel like he's a person who's on a mission. Okay, we have caught him in like a larval stage of becoming the epic villain that he is going to be, and that is so awesome. It's so awesome to be able to see a villain become the villain they are, instead of already you come across them and they're as hardcore and epic as they're going to be. They know all their skills. They know how to force choke and throw people everywhere, and they're just the best thing ever. I think it's so awesome to meet a character while they're in that larval stage, where they're in that cocoon and just becoming something better. They're still in there, and you see flashes of their wings or something, and then as the saga goes on, you get to see their true power. You get to see what they become. That's epic. We got to see him at his larval stage, and we get to go along with him on this journey. We don't just get to see a villain from the beginning being the best he can be. We got to see him from the beginning, pretty much right after his annexing, his coming out of the Jedi Academy and killing off the rest of the members. We got to see him at his not most powerful moments, and see him at weak moments where he was fighting with the light side and making choices that will basically dictate the rest of his journey. I think that's so epic. When it comes to Rey, I feel like Rey is the exact polar opposite of him. Okay, this is my point I want to make for this, and I will not stick on this too long. But Kylo Ren is a guy who rebelled against what was being taught and became a member of just the First Order and clung to the dark side in such a way that he had to fight off the light side. He fought it off. Then there is Rey. I wish I had a picture of Rey right over here right now, but I don't. Rey was like the same thing. Kylo Ren had Darth Vader's helmet with him. Okay, he had Darth Vader's helmet, and he would regularly go back to it and ask it, "Hey, can you please let me know I'm doing the right thing? I'm trying to be on the dark side, and please, Darth Vader, let me know I'm doing the right stuff, dude. Please, Darth Vader, you're the man. I want to be the man like you." Rey, and I posit this because I have not seen anybody on the internet talking about this, how these people are perfect polar opposites. Kylo Ren did that. Rey was on Jakku, but she had a resistance, a rebel helmet, looked just like Luke's helmet. Okay, she had Luke's helmet basically. She was hanging out by the ruins of what are they called? The walkers, ATSTs, RTSTs, whatever they are. The walkers that you saw on Hoth that were fighting them. She was hanging out by that, eating her lunch. She was eating her lunch on the ruins of Imperial battle robots. She was the polar opposite of him. He was there with pieces of Darth Vader and just being dark side to the fullest, trying to feed off of those things to make himself what he wanted to be. And then Rey was over here with rebel helmet on, helping out droids, finding pieces of Star Destroyers and things like that, and just being the polar opposite, and also in her own right worshiping pieces of a forgotten era of the rebels. So I have to feel like half of what she did in this movie was just because she had heard the tales, because she had worshipped, not even worshipped, just upheld things that were sacred to her and had these things with her. So they're polar opposites in such a way that I don't want to believe they're brother and sister, but I do think that they, in the storyline, are just exacting dual opposites of the exact same thing. So they set up something here, and I don't know if they meant to do it, but she is doing the exact same thing as him. He had Darth Vader's helmet, and she had a helmet just like Luke Skywalker's helmet. So they are polar opposites in this saga. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Fourth question. Why was Finn able to break the brainwashing? The conditioning, the brainwashing / conditioning that they put on all stormtroopers. Why was Finn able to break that? Ren and Stimpy. Yes. Serpent Den, you got to see this movie. This movie has implications, man. You've got to see this movie. If you've not seen it already, I got to tell you, thank you for hanging around, by the way, because I know this is spoilers, and I'm sorry. I don't feel like what I'm saying is going to spoil the movie so much. I feel like it's going to make you think about the things you're seeing, because I'm not trying to spoil things in a way that makes it so you know every single bit of the movie. But I'm trying to put it together in a way that makes it so you think about the events you've seen on the screen. So people who have seen this movie are like, wait a minute, yeah, that's kind of right. Critty is bringing up a point. And people who haven't seen the movie, when you do go and see it, you can be like, this is the part Gritty was talking about, and now it does make me think, because that was epic, but is he in fact doing this, or is she part of that? I'm not trying to spoil the movie for you guys, but I am telling you that things I say may spoil it a little bit for you, so if you're not trying to know what happens here, you probably shouldn't be in here. But if you are still in here, I definitely appreciate you guys showing up and being around. So, Why was Finn able to break the brainwashing? I think it's pretty much common knowledge that Finn, the African American gentleman who is a member of, I almost called him Team Gritty. He's a member of Team Gritty. I'm sure he is. If he ever saw Team Gritty, I'm sure he was a member of Team Gritty if he had ever seen it. He's a member of the First Order. He's a stormtrooper, but he somehow breaks their indoctrination. Somehow he breaks their idea. Somehow he breaks their brainwashing that has made all of them so subjective and has made them just go out and do whatever they say. Most people would say that it has something to do with just the trauma of battle, that he wasn't all the way indoctrinated or something like that. But I gotta ask you guys. I'm literally going to read the chat right now to find an answer to this. But how? How did Finn break this indoctrination that has literally enslaved hundreds? You saw how many stormtroopers there are. It's different now. It's not the clones anymore, guys. How did he break it? He probably realized what was going on, and they just really, that's what it is? Just he realized what was going on? Which never made sense because Darth Vader turned to the light side before he died, and even was a ghost with Obi-Wan and Yoda at the end. So why is Kylo Ren? Because Mr. Marvel, I do have an answer to what you just said, by the way. Mr. Marvel brings up an excellent point. Mr. Marvel is saying, why would Kylo Ren, my main dude over here, why would he be worshiping Darth Vader if Darth Vader turned to the light side at the end of his life? Like, it's the very end of his life, he turned to the light side, and now he's a Force ghost who was hanging out with Yoda and Obi-Wan and all that. Why would he be worshiping somebody like that? And it's because the only person who knows that is Luke Skywalker. That's why. Because Luke Skywalker is the only person who was there, who is present, who knows that Darth Vader turned to the light at the end. He's the only person who was there who rescued him and brought him down to the forest moon and burned his body. He's the only person. Nobody else knows that. So everybody else is going off some other thing, and that's what's so epic about Star Wars, guys, because there's a version of history and there's a version of the Jedi and the Sith and all that stuff that is very accepted by pretty much everybody, and then there are a few people who have been very close to it, and that's what we see in Force Awakens, is that Han Solo, he stands there in the Millennium Falcon with Rey and with Finn and tells them, hey, all those legends about the Jedi and about the Force and all that stuff is true. Stuff really happened. I've seen it firsthand, okay? Because they were sitting there like, oh, I don't know, is it real? I don't know. It's just legend. That's what's so epic about Star Wars. Is like, people don't know anything until they're presented with it in the universe. It's not like anything is common knowledge in the universe other than like the major things, like, okay, well, there's a major bad guy who wants to kill us all or something. That is why. That's why he still worships him, because he doesn't know that at the end of his life. And I feel like if Luke Skywalker told Kylo Ren that and showed him the evidence of it, or if a Force ghost, I don't know why. This is another thing. This should be question 6 on my show, is why did Darth Vader or Anakin not come to Kylo Ren as he's sitting there looking at the helmet and say, hey, Kylo, guess what, dude? The dark side is not all that. I turned back to the light side at the end of my life, and I would really appreciate... I should have this logo on the screen right now. Why is this logo not on the screen? I have messed up, guys, and I'm sorry. Let's put this on the screen. All right. Why did Darth Vader or Anakin not show up in a Force ghost form and tell Kylo, hey, it's not all that, dude. I know it seems powerful, but honestly, it matters who your family is, who your friends are, and what you stand for. And here I am, and I know for a lot of my life I was all about what you're about right now, but it's not all it's cut out to be. Why did he not do that? That would have solved this whole conflict. Anakin has to know that. Anakin has to know that he messed up in this movie. So once again, Anakin fails as he has in the prequels, and Anakin is probably my least favorite person to talk about in this prequel. In any of these movies, I like Darth Vader, but I have to say, Anakin failed by not telling this man right here that it's not about that, dude. It's about who your family is, who you care about, and all that. And there wouldn't be a movie, of course, I know. But as a storyline goes, where the heck was Anakin during this entire time? He could have showed up as a Force ghost, and maybe Kylo Ren is not strong enough with the Force to actually see Force ghosts yet. Maybe that's like a rite of passage that you don't get until you're strong enough. But I don't know, man. I really don't know. I feel like this series does whatever it wants when it suits them. Because, honestly, Anakin should have showed up halfway through this movie and been like, hey, Kylo, or hey, Ben, check this out. Darkseid and all that, and you need to just chill out and talk to your dad and just reconcile things, and that would have been the end of the movie. Loopholes. Yeah, loopholes for sure. Probably because Kylo wasn't ready and conflicting on being a good guy. Oh, that's true as well. That's true. Oh, yeah. The movie's epic no matter what, guys. I'm not saying anything bad about the movie. I'm telling you guys my top 5 questions that I have about this movie currently. And one of them is definitely, what the heck was Anakin doing? Anakin should have been in there, being like, yo, trust me, dude. I see your mask. Your mask looks epic, and it looks a lot like something that I would wear, and I would love to wear. Who is your stylist? But before you tell me who your stylist is, can you please understand the dark side is not all that, and get back over here? That should have been it. It still doesn't tell me why Finn was able to break the brainwashing, and I think that's just something, once again, that is... It's just something that is put in there to push the story forward, and it doesn't have any meaning. And that's what hurts me about it, is that there are hundreds of thousands of stormtroopers. You've seen them. You saw the scene where Hux was making that speech to everybody, and there were so many stormtroopers. Think about that. There were so many stormtroopers, and none of them had broken the training except Finn. So I have to be like, what the heck, man? Why is this one guy able to break that indoctrination? And I don't think there will be a... because you have to have a dark side, and it's for them to find out for themselves. That's kind of true. It is kind of true. But Darth Vader found it out for himself. You're right. He did find it out for himself. That's kind of true. Maybe people who have the dark side, maybe people who are pressing themselves towards the dark side, can't see Force ghosts. Maybe it's up to them to realize the truth of their situation. Maybe you're right. I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of the Clone Wars and the extended universe, so maybe you're right. Maybe the people who have tried to align themselves with the dark side don't get to see Force ghosts. You know what? I'm going to say that you might be right, LA Lake Show. You might be right. I don't know what the rules are of the Force ghosts or not, but I would just hope and pray that it's not that. But who knows? Who knows, man? But that's my question. My 5th and final question, guys, before we move on to my next story, and I know this has been very long, but it's something that means a lot to me because I love this movie. Okay, Star Wars Force Awakens, my main man Kylo Ren, they have put together something that I feel will be just the thing for the next 10 years in our lives. Because between that and Rogue One and Episode 8 and then whatever comes next in the anthology of Rogue One, and then Episode 9, and then I really feel like this is the setup for the next 10 years of our lives. And that's why I'm dedicating so much time to this, because I care. Yeah, okay, my mom took me to see these movies when I was a little baby, when I was a little tiny baby. I'm talking about, like, I can't walk, I can't talk. My mom took me to see these movies. She brought me into the theater. She probably wasn't doing this, but this is the motion I'm doing because I feel like it, all right? My mom took me to see Return of the Jedi, okay? She was like, hey, you know what, Gritty, little Gritty, we're going to see this movie. And I was like, Mama. I was saying whatever I was saying at that point, and I took her to see this movie. All right. When I saw this movie, it was Friday. It was the 18th, the day it came out, and I took my mom to see it because I was like, Mom, you took me to see the first Star Wars experience I ever had, even if I don't remember it, and I'm taking you to this one. And we watched it together, and it was epic. All right. So I gotta give some props, and I have been watching this forever. I have the Blu-ray saga. This is the saga on Blu-ray that I have. All right, it's the original trilogy because the prequels are whatever to me. I gotta give it its fair shake because I feel like this is the epitome of pop culture. This is the epitome of everything that we have been doing when it comes to gaming, movies, memorabilia, toys, everything that the internet is about currently when it comes to social media. Star Wars embodies that. It's something that so many people have come to love, so I can't shortchange it and be like, okay, so Force Awakens came out, the end. No, my story is going to be, 5 questions. So my 5th and final question is, the mayor of the village, okay, the mayor of the village in the very beginning, he had a piece of the map that showed where Luke Skywalker is. Okay? I have to ask you, this is kind of like a twofold question. Why did he have this piece? First of all, who the heck is he? This is probably like a fourfold question. All right. Why did he have this piece? Who the heck is he? Why was he giving it to Poe Dameron? And what is the meaning of it? Why would Luke Skywalker give his location to this man? Okay, these are 4 questions I have. I originally thought this was like a twofold question, but just upon asking it, I have even more questions. Who the heck is this dude? Why does he have the piece? Why is he giving it to Poe Dameron? And why would Luke Skywalker be giving his location to anybody? Okay, these are 4 questions that are just, as soon as the movie ended, I had 2 of these questions. Now I have 4 questions. So that is just what movies do to me. At the end of Iron Man 3, I had like 150 questions that never got answered because that movie sucks so bad. Okay, there are very few movies that I say suck. Iron Man 3 is one of them. That movie has the ultimate amount of plot holes and garbage in it, and I'm just so... That is a movie that they made to make money, and I don't like movies that are made to make money. I feel like this movie was made out of passion. The Force Awakens was a passionate movie. It was made by a man who loves the Star Wars universe, who set up the rest of this universe very beautifully and knew what he was doing, and has talked to other directors, talked to other writers, and made this universe matter. But what in the wide world of Star Wars was happening here? Who the heck is he? Why has he got this piece of the puzzle? Why would Luke give this piece of the puzzle to anybody? And why would he give it to Poe Dameron of all people? It seems like a replay. Is it better than Harry Potter? I would say yes. I would say yes, it's better than Harry Potter. And Anakin was good first. He only turned to the dark side when his woman got killed and his mother died. Yeah. That's why I give props to this guy, is because I feel like he's in the middle of that. I feel like he is not completely turned, and that's what's so awesome. about this bad guy is because we get to see him kind of like at the beginning of that. We don't. Anakin, it was different. Anakin, we got to see him trying to save Padme. We got to see him build up, but we already knew who he's going to become. This guy, we don't know where he's going. We basically get to see him from that chrysalis, from that first stage of him, almost first stage. We don't get to see him at the Jedi Academy murdering people or any of the rest of that stuff he did. But I feel like this is really the turning point. This movie is the turning point of him going even darker, even more powerful with the dark side, and being trained by Snoke. So I have to ask you, why? Why does this guy? Why does the mayor of that village? He's played by a very famous actor. I don't know why he has this piece, why he's been entrusted to it. Why would Luke give him that piece of information? Why would he entrust it to him? But I have to also say that he also lives on the same planet as Rey. Okay? Of all planets in the galaxy, of all planets he could live on, he lives on the planet that Rey lives on. The woman, the main character of Star Wars Force Awakens, he lives on the same planet as her. So I have to take that into account, and that's part of the reason that I feel like Luke Skywalker has something to do with her youth. Maybe he's not her father, but maybe Luke has set this up in a certain way because he left that piece of the map that leads to him on the same planet that she lives on. Coincidentally, they couldn't even find Luke Skywalker without this piece, so you can't tell me it's coincidence, Gritty. He just had no, there's no coincidence to that. It could have been on any planet. If he was smart, he would have hit it on some planet that doesn't have any life. He would have hit it on a planet where you had to talk to Luke Skywalker for him to tell you where to find it, or he would have had to send a message or something, and then gosh, I don't know. R2-D2 is in low power mode throughout the whole movie. There are parts of this movie that just don't make any sense, and I don't think ever will, because they're just set up that way to make a movie. But this particular part, I feel like, does matter. Why does that guy have a piece of the map? Why is it on the same planet as Rey? Why is it given to Poe Dameron? Why? Just so many questions about this. So these are my 5 questions, guys. Rise of the Gritty Nation. Yes, these are my 5 questions. I just wanted to give you guys these. I feel like it helps me to decompress. It helps me to feel like I can talk to some people about the movie, because after that movie's over, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like talking to people about it. Okay, I feel like talking about it because that's the mark of a great movie. All right, after Castaway ended, I was like, holy crap, I got to talk to people. After Gattaca ended, holy crap, I got to talk to people about it. After Braveheart, holy crap. Gladiator, holy crap. Passion of the Christ, holy crap. Last Samurai, holy crap, I got to talk. 300, I got to talk to people. Matrix, I got to talk to people. If you don't feel like you have to talk to people about a movie, I feel like it's not even that great. I felt like I had to talk to people about Gone Girl. I felt like I had to talk to people about Ex Machina. I gotta talk to people about movies when they are epic, when they happen, and it's like, it's beyond you. You can't keep it inside. So, me personally, I came up with 5 questions that I had for this movie, and I felt like I should share them with Team Gritty and leave it up to Team Gritty, because we're going to talk about this movie for the next year and a half until the next one comes out. Okay? Those are my 5 questions for now. I'll probably come up with another 5 over the next 6 months or something. But for now, Team Gritty, please do your best to help me with these questions, and I'll do my best to help you with the questions you have, and we can decompress together. All right? But for the meantime, my boy Kylo Ren is gonna say thank you. I'm gonna say thank you. This is not the end of this broadcast by far. It's not the end of the broadcast by far, but I'm just gonna say that Kylo Ren's sticking around for the rest of this.